Hey, everybody. We are back. Episode 10 of the Eclectic Soundtrax with Mr. Scott Banco.
How's it going?
Hey, is it Blanco? Like Southern Belle, or is it Blanco?
Man, it for, going through grade school, it was Blanco, Scott Banco, who's here, come here, but since I've kind of actually steered into the skid recently, so it's Blanco.
Blanco.
There you go.
Well, Blanco, where did you grow up? In New York City?
I actually would never want to grow up in New York City, but I grew up in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, cool. No, that was a stupid joke because obviously that accent wouldn't be up there. But yeah, dude, I'm from.
I mean, you've got the Puerto Ricans up there,
And see, things always come back around because that girl I was just telling you about before we started, Victor, was Puerto Rican.
Oh, she's Puerto Rican, yeah.
I have a wonderful weekend with a Puerto Rican woman in New York once, and then God failed me. No, so anyway, so paste picante sauce. What are your thoughts?
Paste or picante? Neither.
It's shit. I don't care.
Man, I've been watching this podcast. I've been watching this YouTube series recently. That's what I reckon. And I kind of will definitely be on his train of fuck jar sauce, man.
Well,
fuck jar sauce, make it at home.
And you just totally went off that was right. Fuck jar sauce. That's what
he does.
That's what he does.
Fuck jar sauce.
Okay, try to remember this, and that'll be our sign off for this at the end of this podcast.
Oh, you got it. Absolutely.
Fuck jar sauce. So, dude, I'm with you, except for I haven't gotten there yet. I got this hair up my ass a little while back, and I was like, I'm gonna make some fucking salsa. Mm-hmm. It's a disaster. And
what happened?
Well, it's still edible. It just and then I put water in the blender like an idiot, and it was too watery, dumb, and it was too oniony. And then I roasted it, and then the next batch I made was even worse. I don't even know, but I was trying dumb shit because I cut up lots of stuff with different meats and whatever I make, right? But I learned carrots probably have no place in salsa was one thing I learned.
You know what?
Weird ass orange. It looked like baby food, dude. It looked like Gerber baby.
You say that. I hate to pull the mansplaining. Well, actually,
no. Tell me how to make carrots work in salsa. I want the entire podcast to revolve around this.
Well, it's funny because Yellowbird. Because I love salsa. I fucking love salsa. I make salsa. I buy,
of course,
some nice artisanal. Yeah, I'm that fucking dude. I buy artisanal salsas. But Yellowbird, their habanero salsa actually has carrots in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It kind of sweetens it up a little bit. Gives the orange color, but also sweetens it up.
So give us the lowdown on your what's the secret Scott Banco recipe for salsa?
Okay, so I make three different types. I make a red, a green, and an orange. And the orange is habanero, obviously. But the red, you just I have this skillet. It belonged to my grandma, so I think that's where all the magic is, honestly. But yeah, I just roast. I mean, I just fry the shit out of whole tomatoes in the skillet till they're burnt on each side, pretty much. And do the same with onions. Do the same with serrano peppers, and then garlic. Do a ton of garlic. Basically, just burn everything. Just get it charred in the skillet. Mix that shit up in a blender, and you got your salsa.
Wow! So I
put a little bit. I do put a little bit of avocado oil or olive oil in there. Weirdly enough, that kind of works too.
I like that. I love both those oils. But I learned that the first time I was just here's a bunch of raw shit and I'll put it in a blender with some ice and water, and it magically is going to be great salsa. Very white.
Ice and water.
I don't even know. It's like when I make a fruit smoothie, I throw ice. I don't even who fucking know. Maybe not ice, but for some reason I put. I even cheated too. I think I had cilantro, tomatoes, onions. Nothing was pre-cooked, and then I threw some. I know what it was. I put some fucking. This is so stupid. This is not homemade. I put what do you call it? The Rotel.
Oh, nice. So you also work at Pace.
Correct. Yes. Right. Exactly. So then if anyone that knows me, I can't waste food. I hate wasting food. I'll practically risk my life to not waste old food. And so whenever I'm done with the can or something, or a lot of times I'll put a little water in there and shake around, try to get everything. So I think I ended up doing that. And of course, my fiance who's there at the time was like going like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine." And then it turns out to be a watery disaster. But I was like, "Oh, maybe you can use a little more." So then, like after the fact, trying to add vegetables back in, and it was just a disaster. Yeah.
Okay, Skunk. I will say this from somebody who does make salsas. The first time I ever made a salsa roja, I did put a little bit of water. I was like, I'm kind of what it was? It wasn't water. I put lime juice. I put a little bit too much lime juice, and it just made it water. It made it watery and like way too sweet, and it was just this like, no, good try, but no gracias.
You know what? I've been saying this, and I'm glad we're talking about this tonight because it's inspired me. Next time I go to the store, I'm going to get this stuff, and I'm going to give it one. It's like I got 3 tries at this shit. I fucked up 2. And it was still edible. It just didn't look appealing. It was a little, but I'm going to do it again. Do you do anything? What about salt and pepper and garlic powder or anything like that? Or
I think it's one thing I left out is I usually will do like a hefty pinch of salt. Like I got a chef like the whole iron claw into a vat of salt and then sprinkle that in. And it's kind of to taste. And so I'll salt it until it's like that's about right.
Well, when quarantine is over and when it's safe for everybody to get together, I really want to have a salsa party.
Oh, dude, yeah, and especially like you haven't lived, so you've had like my habanero salsa.
I'm down, man. I'm a salsa maniac. I love all things Mexican cuisine. So by all means, I have a reason to live again. Thank you. Go. Thank you, Scott Banco.
You got it. Hey, it's been a nice podcast, guys. I'll see you later. No.
Fuck George. God bless everybody, and good night.
Good night. Yeah. What's the verdict on the HEB salsa and the plastic containers?
Ooh,
that goes bad in like a day or two if you don't eat it.
That's just actually pretty good because you know they got their fucking in-house wonderful, amazing old Mexican ladies just making them. Yep. It's like the same thing with the tortillas. And that's the thing I went gluten-free like about a year ago. And that's like I think pretty much the one thing I miss is the HEB like freshly made buttery flour tortillas. Like holy fuck, every breakfast taco is infinitely better because of it.
Yeah.
I'm a corn tortilla guy. Now I will agree those are good flour tortillas if I'm going to do it.
And the thing is,
I want them to be fresh like that.
Dude, well, I mean, going gluten free, corn tortillas are totally fine. I mean, it's more, I guess I'm just gluten conscious because I still drink beer, which is, I guess I'm more gluten conscious. I cut like all the breads and flour and all that stuff out of my diet. But so whenever I go eat tacos, I get corn tortillas and they're totally badass.
I was going to ask you about the beer thing. Well, you've worked at various places and bars, but do you
actually? Funny enough, I've only worked in ever one bar, and it was for 3 weeks, and I got pissed off and left.
For some reason, sounds like my bartending career. I didn't leave.
Yeah,
it didn't last very long. But I for some reason I was thinking maybe you brewed or someone else in the band Finite.
Yeah, so that's Ryan the drummer. He's a brewer at Live Oak here locally in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I
came over. You guys had a bunch of beer over there, I think.
Mm-hmm. You're right. So I actually did almost get in the brewing industry. I did. I was interning at Black Star Co-op with the head brewer at the time, who started Fourth Tap, or who was one of the guys that started Fourth Tap. So he was like, "Hey, we're gonna need some brewers and some cellar guys. I want to build a team. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so the first day I ever brewed with him, I fucked up a whole batch of beer. So that wasn't the deterrent. That was like, okay, we're gonna work with something new. And I just kept working with him, and I just realized, like, man, I think this is going to take too much time from music. So I just can't. And I love beer and I love brewing. It was a cool experience to learn all that stuff. But I realized how much time it was going to take for me to do music and how much music stuff I wanted to do. And so that deterred me from actually being a brewer or going in the brewing industry.
Yeah, my brother spent some time at Jester King. And so I know when he got started, I just spent a lot of time out there. So
yeah, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. And
yep.
It's a lot of work to build up to being a brewer. I mean, where I was going to start off was going to be like in the cellar, which, I mean, a cellar is not a bad position. Actually, I probably would have started as like a driver. And then what you do is you build up to like cellar, which they do like keg conditioning, and they clean all the kegs. They do all that, the kind of the back end stuff, and get everything packaged properly.
Right.
And then you go up to brewing, where you make the beer. So it's like you brew the beer, and then you have the guys in the cellar who do everything after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I think before he left, because it was right around the time that lockdown happened, right? They had to let go some folks. So, he actually ended up getting another job just right before that. The time worked out. The opportunity worked out for him. But he worked his way up to the brewing, or working with the brewers at that point.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. Cool.
Several people have brewed at this point. Do you know John Simpson by any chance, guitar player?
Who does he play for?
Well, he had a band called Witch Divers. He plays with Maven, a crazy rock band that's been around. He's actually been, I don't know if you are familiar with A Good Rogering, whenever like we've had the Witch play with us, like the old creepy man.
Oh, yeah. I think that was one time we played at Come and Take It with you guys. You had him. It was like he was doing he was going to like guitar and keyboard, right?
Oh, you know what? I bet it was Skunk Fest, the first Skunk Fest when we played, and we at the end of the night, I had a keyboard player and John, and we did like we had three people playing.
Wait, what's his full name?
John Simpson is his actually who that person really is, not an old witch, but yeah.
Okay, because it's funny because I know another John that used to play with you is like Xanatakos or something like that, or
oh no, that's the keyboard guy. Yeah, John Takanikos. Yeah,
Takanikos. Yeah,
he plays guitar and everything too, but Takanikos plays the one playing keys with us that night. Yeah,
it's funny because I actually before all this happened, I was working with him at Musicians Woodshed as a teacher.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. I didn't realize you worked there, man. Yeah,
that's a part-time, like just every Tuesday thing.
I'll be damned. Yeah. John's great, man. He's actually on. Speaking of John Takanikos, I can't believe I'm actually getting his name right because I never have. And you were the same. I used to always be like literally on stage. This is what a terrible front man I am. I'm like John something on the keyboards, everybody. You know. And it's like, dude, really, you couldn't take 3 seconds to figure out my fucking last name and how to say it. But yeah, John went a few weeks back, who cares what the timeline is? Where recent podcast when we had our buddy PJ on, and we were talking about that old porn song, right? And John's the guy that I sent it to. John played B3 on it.
Oh wow! Awesome. Yeah,
so that'll be on a podcast very shortly as intro music. He's playing some B3 on there, but. Cool. Yeah. So, but this other dude, John Simpson, and so they were both on stage with us that night. And John Simpson, who I've known for a long time, is just absurdly great guitar player, virtuoso. He's got his own studio, but he brews, man. He brews also. And
oh wow, cool.
So, I think we're seeing a theme here with musicians and so what I was a minute ago. So I was holding this up, and I was going to be like,
saw that.
Look, but it's not beer, it's whiskey because I don't have any beer. And this is actually the last. But then I was like, oh man, because I was all excited when I saw it in the cabinet, but you can't really see it on camera. Well, you can barely. It's very.
Oh, is that like
that's awesome. Finite Fidelity. That's Scott's band. Finite.
Oh man. Okay. Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, super
Hell yeah.
I remember that before we started. And I was like, dude, I've got a Finite Fidelity glass. Finite Fidelity, by the way, one of my favorite bands in Austin. I mean, a lot of people know this. You guys have played maybe about 3 or 4 times with us. You played 2 Skunk Fests.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So, and I know you guys were playing quite a bit, I think, until the pandemic hit, obviously, right?
Yeah.
You're still exactly. What's up with you guys? Weren't you making a record? Is that done? What's the latest?
It's done. It's finally fucking done. And the thing is, I think we kind of did the extreme of both from each album. So like our EP was just me and Ryan. So it was him and I, and we're getting shit out to get shit out. And a lot of stuff is kind of weirdly ADD, and there's like some like Queens of the Stone Age, but there's also some old blues kind of sounding stuff. The first actual record we did with the full band, that's when we had another guitar player named Skylar who was playing with us. We did the full record, and we tracked it in 1 weekend, and we mixed it all 10 songs in 2 weekends. That was it. And we took way too little of time to do that, and it just came out. It was okay. You know, you can find it. It's Red and Blue. I'm kind of downplaying it because it's a good album. It just could sound better if we took more time. And so this album, which I'll let you know, the name of it's called Violetta. So Red and Blue together make Violet. So we called it Violetta. It's definitely like we wrote the songs. We've had these songs for a long time. And this record, I mean, I think it's taken us about a year and a half to actually get it where we wanted it. And then we were supposed to drop the album this year and like had a CD release show going and all that. And then the fucking pandemic hit. And that's been put to the wayside up until quite recently. We decided we're going to release 4 singles, like probably three, but mostly likely 4 singles from that record. And then we'll release the whole thing after because there'll be one a month. So we're going to release a single at the end of the month. Probably late October, early November. You'll see something from us, and we're going to promote that as well. And then it'll be once a month after that. And once we get that going, we'll actually release the whole full album. Finally.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. It's, you know, listening to you talk about the first album that you guys did, and that was a full length, right?
That was full length. That was 10 songs. Yeah.
It makes me think of the way you said that, and then you kind of downplayed it, but it's not bad. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's very good because I know your music. But like when a good Rogering started, we initially went in and did a 6-song demo. And then I just went crazy and like kind of kept fiddling with it and layering stuff, and it turned into our first EP. So it's all live. The initial 6 tracks were recorded in 8 hours.
Oh wow!
And then I had like a little demo that we had at our original shows, like 4 songs like that. And then I took it, did some overlaying and overdubs and stuff, and had it remixed somewhere else, and ended up just putting it out. And there's something about it. So back to your point with what you were saying about your first album, sometimes having an album like that is kind of cool because there's a rawness that you lose when you nitpick and go for it. But at the same time, it is nice to have something that you really take your time with, and you got everything the way you wanted it. I mean, I don't know if it ever happens in the recording process, but obviously it's a very, very different approach. You know, neither one.
Yeah, it's funny because our bass player Tim, he classifies our first full album, the Red and Blue, he classifies that as a progressive garage rock band. And it's actually, or not band, but a progressive garage rock album. And that's totally like to the T, honestly. It's very raw, very proggy still as far as each song goes. And then, but yeah, this album is like, we're really honing in what we tell people all the time. We're progressive desert rock. So like we're pretty much all like the early Queens of the Stone Age stuff, you know, and love, and also very Tool as well. So try to combine all that stuff together. And so it's kind of nice doing the extremes of both. But I think we're going to go more in the direction these days of probably just releasing a single and just releasing singles, because that's kind of where we're at nowadays.
Yeah, it makes sense with the way everything is, especially now. What I was going to say, where did you say you recorded? Where was the new one recorded? You might have said, and
I did not say, actually. Thank you for asking. That was over at the Oven. So the new one was at the Oven. They're local, or obviously they're local, but they're located a little bit more north Austin, like Airport and Lamar area. Those guys are great. Phil Kegley and David Click own the studio. Ian's now a partial owner there as well. So he's recording people. And Ian is our guitar player of the band. And he is, that place is cool. And we've been able to see it grow, and it's just grown into something really badass over there.
Awesome. That's really cool, man. I wasn't familiar with that place. But speaking of Ian, because I know he's been running live sound for a while. I know he had a standing gig, or maybe still does. Well, I don't know now, but Little Darlin' down.
Yeah, I think that's still kind of in play. If they are doing shows again, he might still be called for that. But he still is actually doing gigs over at Hotspot up north too, and he's got some other sound gigs that he's been doing recently that are, I still think, like very properly social distanced, and he's still doing the thing, and it's been picking up for him recently.
Yeah, we're seeing that a little bit. It seemed like that first time around trying to open the bars seemed possibly preemptive, and then people just being irresponsible or whatever the case was.
Of course, yeah.
And shit hit the fan, and now we've lost lots of great bars. But hopefully, this time around we'll be able to. Fingers crossed, I
think we learned our lesson from fucking around earlier. So I mean, I've been
hope so, man. Yeah.
You mean places I've been to recently, which I haven't really been to actually any shows, but I mean, I go out and I go to like Zilker Park. I go to places. I go out to dinner sometimes with my girlfriend and all that, and people aren't fucking around, or at least from what I see, from where I go, that people aren't fucking around, but who knows?
I think hopefully most people at this point are taking it seriously. And even if they're not, they've just accepted that the masks are a thing now, and you just shut the fuck up and deal with the guidelines. And if you want to do, and hopefully, if we can all just do this, then one way or another we'll get, one way or another we'll get through it. But
yeah, man, I mean, I
hope so, man. I hope that I don't want to see businesses just continually going under, and it's obviously been very difficult for many musicians and in the bar industry. It's been horrible. It's a good thing you weren't a bartender.
Yeah, I think so. I work at the guitar shop on the South Lamar, and we've kind of opened up very minimal capacity, and people weirdly have actually been, since we've opened, have been super cool about the whole mask thing, which I'm very thankful for. We don't really have a clientele that's want to fight that. We sanitize everybody at the door, we sanitize all the guitars and all that stuff, and it seems to just work, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think it's just an acceptance of like, well, this is how it is right now, and just either deal with it or just be a huge dick and end up on YouTube being made fun of. I mean, those are
exactly
right. So
the only thing you can do is ride the lightning,
baby. Yeah.
Those are probably the same type of people that throw ice in their salsa.
We're just gonna make a salsa. Yeah, you beat to it. Yeah. Some fucker doesn't want to wear a mask. That asshole puts water in his fucking salsa. Where were we? Salsa.
Bill
O'Reilly. That's an interesting name to throw out there. I kind of want to roll with this. I mean, you're an avid Bill O'Reilly fan, and everybody knows this.
Sure. I know the name. I'm a fan of the name, I guess. I'm a fan of that video where he like flips a fucking tit on television, where he basically just loses his shit because he doesn't know what the phrase "to play us out" means.
Yeah, he's
have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that clip?
I just remember him asking Jenna Jameson for some films for research and stuff. That was really fun.
It's for science. It's always for science.
Bro, you're not getting. Now you asked Jenna Jameson for her films. Like, you can't crucify her now. It doesn't work that way. Like, you're clearly
not. No, it does not. Man, no. He had like, it was basically Sting was a guest music guest on his show. I don't know what, as CNN or something. I don't fucking know what he was on, but it was like probably back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s when Sting was doing his own thing. And he just like goes, he's like, I don't know what it means to play us out. What does that mean to play us out? What the fuck does that? Fuck this shit. The fucking thing sucks.
Bill O'Reilly did that.
God, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. And he gets like really fucking pissed about it.
Jesus. I think I've seen that. Now that you bring it up, yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that. It sounds really good. I had this little silly little meme thing. I don't know if you call it a meme, but something I made during, I think it was right around the time of some elections, and I just made this thing that said, because Bill O'Reilly is just a pompous douche, right? He's the Republican pompous douche. On the flip side of that, once in a blue moon, like Bill Maher recently said something that I totally agreed with, and like sometimes I agree with him on religious stuff and certain things, but for the most part, I think he's just a smug bastard, right? He's just so smug. And Bill O'Reilly, so I made this thing one time that just said "smug off" 2012 or something.
Nice, awesome.
Bill O'Reilly versus fucking
Bill Maher.
Yeah, just how far up my own ass can I, I know everything, you know nothing. I'm smarter than you.
Perfect.
So, what are your politics? This is not a sensitive issue at all, so just lay it on us.
Oh yeah, no problem. Man, I'm like
no repercussions.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I'm pretty widely liberal, but it's funny that like you mentioned that, because it's like this whole election, man, I am so fucking lost. Like
crazy.
Like, of course, I'm gonna vote everything against Trump, but fuck, man, if fucking Biden's just like, if I don't do a face palm every fucking time I hear him speak, it's tough, man. It's really tough. And I gotta say, yeah, I'm very much a liberal person, to the core, but I really just, this whole situation is kind of just fucked. Like, it just really is. And I know I'll be frank as well. Like, instead of Scott, I'll be frank in saying that, like, I'm pretty ignorant a little bit of what's going on right now. Like, I really don't read too much into like all the articles, and I'm not really upkept on a lot of like, the political stances of each party. What are the platforms, this and that. Like, it just stresses me the fuck out. And I'll openly say that, like, that's probably not the best thing to do, considering that I'm gonna have to vote for somebody here like next week. But I'll figure it out by then. I'll usually do my research about like a few days beforehand and to make my decision.
Like Christmas.
Obviously Biden, but then other stuff, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'll read into all the props. All that
Might
shit,
I suggest that you watch some Bill O'Reilly and or Bill Maher videos, and
okay, I'll make my decision from there.
Very accurate, unbiased information that you can.
Yeah. So yeah, politically left, socially, I guess, left. I don't know. Fuck. Like, I just want people to get along. I want people to love each other, and I just want people to fucking grow up. That's where I'm at.
Most people just want people to be good people, and
yeah, that's all I fucking want. And nobody's being good to each other right now, and it sucks ass, and I hate it.
That is the correct answer. It's like, do you guys ever watch that show? What's his name? James Corbin or whatever. And he's got, what's the guy's name? Reggie
Watts.
Yeah, Reggie Watts on there as his band leader or whatever. And they usually have this thing, yes, where I guess lately they'll do a thing where they have a guest, and a lot of times it's Zoom or whatever. But I don't know if this is a long running thing they've done. I don't know. But Reggie Watts will ask them some question, and no matter what they say, they're like, that is absolutely the correct answer. Like, that was your answer right there.
Awesome. Well, there you go.
Agree.
But yeah, that's where I'm at. I guess that's where I'd say I'm at.
Yeah, I really think, like, what kind of salsa do you think that Biden likes versus Trump? Do you feel like Trump is a pace guy?
I think Trump loves ketchup. It's a little bit on the spicy side for him, but I think he loves ketchup. And Biden would probably take the risk to go to like medium picante. I think he would like take the risk, but where Bernie fucking would go balls deep in some habanero, Yellowbird.
He'll stick Carolina Reapers in his eyeballs. He didn't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, we have to do the right thing and put Carolina Reapers here. This is for the American people.
I just saw it today. I saw you cannot fucking be productive when you get on social media. I always have a reason, and then I'm distracted. And literally this happened today. I don't even know what I got on for something. 2 minutes later, I'm watching a guy smoke a Carolina Reaper out of his bong and cough.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you heard me right. That's exactly what he did.
Hi.
And he was like, yeah, man, book it 2020. And then, and then he's like just gulping water down and coughing, and exactly what you would think. Like, who knows?
Of course, yeah.
Lived, but
okay.
But yeah, I think Bernie would look. Bernie Sanders, agree with him or not. I mean, I do think he passionately cares. Like whether he cares in a sane manner or not is another story. But he cares enough to stuff Carolina. Why do I want to say California? Carolina Reapers in his eyes. So I think.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. All I want, I know it's so cliche and probably very, frou-frou maybe of me, but like, I just want love to win, man. I just want everybody to love each other. That's such a hard thing to do. What's up?
Sound like a dang old liberal.
Yeah, man, dang old chango fucking blue-ass motherfucking blue ball piece of shit cocksucker,
You're a disgrace to our red state. Why don't you go live out there in California?
California.
Go out the California way. They got a whole mess of internet out there.
Man, get that Californication going, man. Fuck yeah.
I think Victor got my reference. I think we've gone through a couple of podcast without referencing South Park, and I just went there with the classic internet episode. Do you remember when the internet was like,
that's a great one.
Way.
Man,
that little Brazilian fart porn.
Where were you when they built that ladder to heaven?
That's one of my favorite ones too. And here right away to capitalize on Kenny's death or whatever. It's like country artist legend Alan Jackson, ladder to heaven.
Oh man, that's so great. Oh shit.
Oh dude,
that goes right into Team America. What would you do?
I didn't realize this for a while when I listened to that song, and one day I was like, wait a minute. They're doing the slide guitar with their mouths. It's fucking hilarious.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding. If you listen to it, like they'll be like, what would you do? And then you just hear that. Fucking awesome. Yeah,
I have to check that out. I didn't realize that.
So good. So Rowan Reed, are we just going to spend the rest of the podcast talking about South Park and singing Team America songs? Because I definitely can do it.
Fuck yeah! No.
Totally down. Oh,
lick my butt and suck on my balls.
Best shit ever, man. Oh, hey, speaking of which, it doesn't matter because this won't air by then. But I just found out we were like, so I was just watching this the other night too. They had the band Love and Chaos with AJ Vallejo and
AJ,
blah 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 blah. They have different bands playing on there that they're just rerunning right now because I don't think they can have it in. But AGR is going to be on there on the 12th.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to say on this podcast. But my point on this is what I thought was funny was the guy that hit me up about it. We chat here and there, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna throw AGR up on the 12th, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Is there cussing?" And I'm like, "Well, we closed the show with Team America theme song, so you know, there's that." Yeah, I want to put a parental warning on that one. Yeah,
is Rick still in AGR? AJR?
No. AGR right now is kind of it's a free floating free form. It's back to it's me and whoever I call, you know.
Well, I got it.
Yeah. Well, the last show we did was let's see, when the hell was that? Shit, man. I don't know if you knew. I actually had contacted you about this, about maybe playing some drums with us on some different things because we did some Alice in Chains tribute shows.
That's what it was. I was actually going to ask what happened to that because I was absolutely down. I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, hit me up. I'm out. I'm about it." And then I didn't hear anything back. I was like, "Man, all right." But
I may have something for you. Actually, I actually have an Alice in Chains cover right now that I'm doing with a few different people, and I'll see what everyone says, but fuck, might be cool to throw down some drums on that bitch. Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
So here's what happened with that. We did two or three shows. I can't remember. One was in Houston. I think we did 3. Anyway, we ended up playing. I was just double booking us with RuneScarred. And so Peyton from RuneScarred, the drummer, he ended up just sitting in for half of our set. We started doing some acoustic and he would just jump on stage and we just played half the Alice in Chains set because he just knew all the shit. Cool. That made that really easy. So yeah, we did a couple of those songs. And then I honestly, I think the only song that we did was in January. We did a 10-year reunion show from when that EP I was talking about came out.
Oh, nice.
We played that for the first time ever. We played that in its entirety. And we had Mark Coronado from The Crown and Slaterica, drummer.
Oh, yeah. I know Slaterica for sure.
Yeah. So Mark played drums with us for that show. Rom, I don't think was available for one of those or something because he had like a potentially conflicting. Anyway, I don't even know. I think we played one gig in San Antonio with Rom. Then we played that one with Mark. John Takikos was on keys. Tim from RuneScarred was on guitar. Sammy on bass.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's just kind of been that kind of deal. So next time a good Rogering plays, I have no idea who will be on stage. Me, unfortunately, sorry, but and then a bunch of other people that are really good.
Perfect. No, it's funny when you said RuneScarred. I totally remembered. So my girlfriend actually was in Vin Scott's movie.
Yes.
Yep. I thought that was kind of cool. So I saw the RuneScarred music video for that, and I was like, "Oh, hey, that's you."
I want to say that was, she was in the Date from Hell, right?
Yep, she was. She was the lead in Date from Hell.
Yeah, I remember when he was doing that. I mean, we saw early cuts of that before the music was even in it or anything. I think Tim did the music for that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then we had that premiere. He had a deal at Independence Brew. Where was that?
Yeah, Independence Brew. You were there for that, right?
Yeah, me and Tim played.
That's right. Oh, fuck yeah, that's right. I showed up kind of like right as the movie's about to start, but that's totally right. I remember
You caught wind that we were playing for an hour first, and you're like, cool, I'll show up whenever they're done for the movie. Sounds good.
Exactly. Yeah, make sure that I don't hear the shrill.
I don't need to hear Skunk trying to sing. Skunk and his, donkey getting raped Dave Matthews vocals. I don't need to see the whole, DMB catalog that night because that's all.
Oh no! Well, here's the thing. I showed up right when y'all started. I just waited in the car for about an hour.
Sure. Yeah. I totally. I'll tell you a funny story about that place. I showed up to support another. It used to have there's this guy named Caliber Clark. I think that's his last name, and I had done some kind of recording thing with him a long time ago with another band. I met him and so he's been in a couple super heavy death metal. Like he was in a band called Bludgeon to Death. I mean, it kind of lets you. They're not Texas country. I think you can figure this out. Death metal, but he worked there, and they used to have these death metal bands play on the outside stage and stuff. Right? There was a few times, and so one day I was like, I gotta go support this dude, And I show up I was hauled ass over there after work or something, and then I park my car and I can see people in the parking lot and the band's playing, and I fuck up. This happens once in a blue moon. I fuck up and my alarm starts going off, and I'm like, oh god damn it, and I'm panicking and turning fuck, and I just drove off. I just drove off with my fucking alarm going off and shit, and everyone was just looking I was so fucking embarrassing.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Damn it! And it's in that big warehouse area, industrial park. So yeah, I just drove down the road and figured my shit out and parked way the fuck off and walked back over. And then someone was like, "Is that you that was driving off?" I was like, "What?"
No, man, that's some other asshole.
Someone showed up and their alarm went off. What a dick! I don't know who that was. Yeah, no,
that wasn't me. That was a ferret. That was Ferret Bronx.
Yeah, I think there was some guy named Scott Blanco. You should.
Yeah, that was totally me. Moonlighting.
Yeah, the guy with the big "I love Bill O'Reilly" sticker on is that guy.
Yeah. Bill owes my Riley.
Oh, Bill. That sounds like a pretty good bumper sticker. You could probably sell it to some guys too.
Probably. Along with a bunch of Alex Jones fuckers.
Oh man, fucking Alex Jones. Well, Alex Jones came up when we were talking with who was that? Was that Mike? What episode?
Yeah, it was with Mike. Yeah, that's right.
And because you were telling your Dave Mustaine story.
Yeah.
Everyone always seems to have. We always talk about Dave Mustaine on these podcasts and Geddy Lee. Those are the two running themes that those guys keep.
I did cocaine off of Dave Mustaine's boner, but no one wants to hear that story.
Dave's got a great cocaine boner. Yeah,
he does. And that's the thing about Dave Mustaine is that nobody really knows he actually is. Okay.
So everybody, Scott Blanco has the best Dave Mustaines. Everyone else is like, I ran into Dave Mustaine at an airport. Oh, I was on Headbangers Ball with Dave Mustaine. I did cocaine off Dave Mustaine's cock. You win. I
was just gonna make
I want to have a disclaimer. I want to have a disclaimer at the beginning of this podcast that says Scott Blanco did not actually do cocaine off Dave Mustaine's cock. Someone's got to watch this fucking thing if that's at the beginning. I was
gonna make up some irrational story of the weird thing about Dave Mustaine is that he's erect actually 24/7. That is just him. There's no other state being.
Yeah, that's what heroin and being very politically active do for you. That combination just gives you a nonstop cocaine boner.
Gives you a symphony. It gives you a symphony of destruction in your pants.
Oh man, oh boy, we could. You're just hanging on by the skin of your teeth, huh?
Hello, me. It's me again.
And Scott's. Oh wow. Okay. Stop.
Oh
wow. Wow. I can't believe you went there. Fuck you. Who do you think Dave's voting for? Bernie Sanders? He doesn't give a fuck. He's still just going to vote for Bernie Sanders. No, Alex Jones. That's what. First of all, Scott Blanco wins hands down wins the best, absolutely true Dave Mustaine story. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. It was amazing.
Hey, he was a nice guy. He was nice about it,
He was. Yeah,
he's want to share.
He's a sweetheart. He's a very, very giving soul.
Yeah.
But But yeah, so Vic had run into him. Didn't do. I don't think you did coke off of his boner, but you ran into him in a airport or you were on a flight with him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes to the second question. No to the first one.
And then, long story short, always long in Dave Mustaine's case, apparently, like you got off the plane and he was getting into I love the fact that it was a Hummer, right, with Alex Jones.
It was a Ford Raptor.
Oh damn!
It was a Ford Raptor. Are you serious? He got into a Ford Raptor with Alex Jones?
Yeah, Alex Jones came and picked him up. And
my god,
these celebrities are buddies with Alex Jones, like him and Joe Rogan, man. You know, like they used to kick it at Cap City and shit.
Oh fuck!
You've never seen any of those Joe Rogan stuff back? One of these was on the other night actually. At Cap City, it's fucking awesome, man. His comedy from like the 90s and shit, it's badass.
No, I haven't seen that, but R.I.P. Cap City, by the way.
I know, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a huge loss right there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so back to so just rational politics, Alex Jones, stuff like that. Man, we are
the voice of rational politics, if you will.
Politics. Yeah, Alex Jones is so fucking batshit crazy, and I don't know how much of it is that he's actually insane or how much he just does for fucking publicity. But
I think he knows I think this is all for publicity. Like honestly, I'm surprised even MTV hasn't picked him up for a fucking reality show.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, he's. He makes guys like Bill O'Reilly look like fucking Mother Teresa, man. He makes you listen to him or Rush Limbaugh, and you're like, these guys sound totally rational to me right now.
Yeah,
like after Alex Jones.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. There's like this video. It's funny. Like it's a weird relation, but like my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend works at Barton Springs, and he like showed this video of like Alex Jones just like totally hopping the fence into Barton Springs when it was closed during COVID, and like raising hell, fucking like megaphone, like, you aren't gonna control me, you fucking liberal Luddites. Like, just go fucking grow up here, dude. Shut up.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, man. Look, here, I understand. Go be obnoxious as an entertainer. Hey, been there, done that. But, like, when you start doing shit that can actually affect things where dumb people will actually follow you and break laws and fuck up property or do whatever, then you're a fucking menace and a problem. And I feel like that kind of behavior, that kind of dumb shit right there is just, like, lame, man, at best,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel like guys
are super. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's just designed to stir up shit. Like it's the whole formula that rile people up and your ratings will go up.
That's the thing. People are so easily influenced. It just sucks that they're that influenced because man, like you say one thing and you have enough conviction behind it, you're gonna get a fucking following of dumb fucks behind you thinking that that's the truth. And it's like I don't understand, like, when people will literally quote the most ridiculous Alex Jones quote like possible. I mean, like the fact that frogs are gay type of Alex Jones quote, and say it with such conviction, and you go, okay, I'm gonna record that. I'm going to play it back, and I want you to know that that's your own voice. Mm-hmm. And just hear it again, just hear it again. And really, do you believe in that statement?
I mean, I can literally, things are so crazy. And I don't necessarily put things past anyone. People are capable of being of the most amazing, compassionate actions, in the world, but also just to be the most heinous, horrible, horrific, monstrous whatever that word would be, crimes. So it's like, I don't put things past people, but yet at a certain point there are, certain, so I think it's good to be skeptical and consider and, but you get certain conspiracy theories and stuff that you're just like, it's so over the top. And it's so like the whole flat earth stuff, like who's running around going like the earth is flat and actually believing it? Like who believes this?
So I have a theory behind that. I have a theory behind the whole flat earth thing.
Okay.
I think people who are flat earth believers, and this is my own conspiracy theory, my own little fun I love to have. But people are like, oh no, the earth's flat, and they just fucking go with it, deadpan. I think this is the biggest long-running joke to themselves. The fact that they are trolling everybody and they're getting a rise out of everyone. They're like, hey, we freaking know the fucking world's not flat, but this is great. Look how pissed off they get. You see this shit? Look how fucking mad they get.
Of them like that. That's probably who started it, like the L. Ron Hubbards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They actually have people believe the shit. That's what's so crazy. I think that's the whole thing. Whether it be, and I'm sure people get super, super offended when you start talking about religion and stuff. So I keep doing it, but it's like, whether it's Scientology or the flat earth stuff that's relatively recent, or we go back. I mean, think about it, like centuries ago or millennial ago or whatever, at some point in time when someone was like, oh dude, so check this out. We're going to like write some stories and we're going to make up this thing called God. I don't know, whatever. And then forever on, we're just all doing that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's like important to go, I'm not saying like that I'm not saying I'm not religious even, right? I just think it blows my mind about people is the fact that we are so unwilling to let go of whatever we've been conditioned with. And the fact like, nope, that's what it is because that's what I learned. I mean, I could still believe something and still go like, I mean, and if you're like, no way, then I go like, well, maybe you're right. I don't know. How do I know? Like, how do I
exactly? I think there's something to be said about like spirituality, and I mean, I'm not going to make this a whole religious thing at all, but I've come into a part of my life where I'm very faithful. I'm not religious because I don't go to a church. I'm not part of an organized religion, but I have my own personal faith and spirituality, and there is something to that to a degree where that's what I believe. But I'm not going to make anybody else do that. I'm not going to force anybody into that. I'm not going to oh, what, you don't believe what I believe? Well, you're wrong. No, fuck that. Believe what you want to believe. I'm going to have my own personal relationship with whatever deity that I deem appropriate to me. And you know what? That's fine. I think that's fine with anybody. And the moment you try to dictate a mass group of people and then you control them and then manipulate them, that's where the fucking problem is.
Agree 100%.
That's my
And wasn't that kind of the principle or one of the principles that this nation was founded on, right? That you have the right to religious freedom. Is that not correct, Victor?
That is correct. Absolutely.
Yep.
It is.
Now, in regards to that versus the earth, right? I think it's now some people will definitely say that things within the Bible can be proven. I don't doubt that at all. I'm sure there's artifacts, things that are like cited in those books, of course.
Very historical.
So many times, religion and science will cross, and that's totally okay. But with something like the Earth, it's like even if you believe that moon, landing is a conspiracy, it's like, we've got satellites and there's things that there are photos. Like, do you really think that all of these photos are, a big one gigantic conspiracy?
Yeah, that's
right? kind of like pretty obvious at this point.
There's
it's like we have enough evidence for ourselves. It's like we literally shot this up there, and that's your house. We're looking at your house with your car in front of your house.
Yeah,
there's a curve. There's a natural curve to the planet. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. No,
it's funny.
I think you're right. I think somewhere there's just some people like they're trolls. That's what they do. This is
the biggest troll on the planet right now.
Yeah, they just really get a rise out of that, but which is fine. But the problem is then you got a lot of other people that aren't really too bright, I guess, that just follow. And
I won't say bright. I'll say they're not as logical.
That's a word. Thank you for saying that, because that is definitely a far less derogatory way of putting it. I hate to shit on so many people like that. Because the fascinating part is there's a lot of people that can actually be brilliant people and just believe things that you're like, are you kidding me? Like that's the crazy part, is that very well educated, very highly intelligent people will believe things that I would say the majority of educated people would go, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, you're right. Totally. Logic and following, I guess, the course of human logic and where it has led us to at this point would be a better way of stating that.
There's it's like you have people that just they lack the yearning to question,
or want to question too much, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. There's a yin and yang to everything.
Well, I think the flat earthers are the I want to question too much. Like, no, we got this one. This is cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Question Scientology, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
People, man, we talked about.
Is the earth really full? Is the earth really round?
We talked about this a few weeks back too, though, about like how people are so into their religions or whatever the case may be, their beliefs, that like the example back to South Park, right? We talked about Isaac Hayes and like being on a show where you literally don't choose, you make fun of everybody. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Catholic, Republican, Democrat, everyone gets fucking made fun of, and God bless them. That's what makes that show so brilliant and wonderful.
Exactly.
But all of a sudden they pick on Scientologist and he can't handle it. That's so crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Really crazy.
Honestly, for that reason, they gave him the best send off he could have ever gotten for that.
It was awesome. Yeah, it really was.
Right. Yeah, it's insane. It's like, and you know, and it's funny because they had their whole they fucked with Mormons. Like they made a whole episode and a whole fucking musical about it too.
Have you seen Book of Mormon? That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, I am so sorry to the population who will be listening to this. I haven't seen it yet because I wanted to see it like as a production. I know I can go see it probably, you know, I can see it on streaming and stuff, but I want to go see that in a theater. And now like I just can't. I'm too stubborn to bite the bullet and just watch it on TV.
No, I think there is something to seeing it as a live production though. It's phenomenal. It for me, who's always been a guy, you know, your traditional man in terms of like musicals are stupid, but then of course I love like arguably I love like the Blues Brothers and Spinal Tap, and those are kind of those are musicals for guys or something.
Oh man, I'm a musical. I'm not gonna say fanatic, but I'm a musical fan. I love musicals.
Well, where I was going with this is Book of Mormon was a game changer for me for a few reasons. I mean, I've only seen like one opera in my whole life. I've seen a ballet. I've seen a few Broadway things now, but not many. And so a lot of times you can't really understand something perfect, right? Until you see it happen. And and now also I've played some of this stuff, which is extremely difficult. And I'm like, my level of respect for any of those composers, any of the actors, anyone involved in Broadway in any fucking capacity is through the roof, because these people fucking every single one of them is absolutely amazing. Like I get it, man.
Yeah. Talk about prog music.
Wow. No shit. I mean, it doesn't get more progressive than that. Key change. I mean, it's fucking amazing. And that's one aspect of it. We're not even talking about the choreography and the acting and the stamina. And there's so many, it's truly mind boggling and super, super impressive. And for me, seeing Book of Mormon live, not only as a fan of Trey Parker and just the comedy aspect and the brilliance and the writing and the whole story and all the satire and all that, but just watching the production and the actors. And I was just like, wow, this is really amazing. It's just amazing on every level, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Like the game changer for me, weirdly enough, it was a high school production. Like I was in middle school, like I had to audition for the high school that I went to. It was an arts high school. And the game changer, I didn't even think of anything of musicals at the time. I was just like, that's stupid. I don't like, you know, I've heard some musicals that my parents played, and I was like, no, that's dumb, you know. And then
that's with Butthole.
This high school that I was auditioning, right? You know, the high school I was auditioning for did a production of Sweeney Todd. Fucking high school doing Sweeney Todd, slitting throats, blood. Like, I was like, and I watched the whole thing, and I was just so enthralled and amazed by the music, the acting, all this. I was like, holy crap, there is something to this. And then once I actually started playing, because my background's actually I started in viola, so playing in musicals, playing the music for musicals as a violist, I was just like, holy shit, this is so fucking cool. Every bit of this is badass. Like the first one I ever played in was Beauty and the Beast. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what 7/8 is, but I like this.
Dude, it's total next level music, man. Total next level. Like, I think, it'll make you a better musician instantly. Like that you cannot hack your way through that shit at all. Man, I wish I'd had a similar experience. I was just too much of a Nimrod in high school. Like for me, I was getting into guitar and I was total metal dude, you know. And just
me too.
But for me, you know, I took theater class, but it was more of like, theater class where there's a bunch of cute girls and me and my buddy could knock off. And you know, Dave on the podcast, Dick, and so one of my best friends I've known for many, many years. That was one of the first classes we ever had together, and that's all we did was act like jackasses and do Wayne's World skits and you know shit like that. That for you, but like Yeah, we did like South Pacific and some shit like that, and I don't remember any of it except for us just like fucking around the whole time, you know.
Oh wow!
Like I don't think I picked up on, you know, it until later when I was just like, wow, there's really something to this. This is pretty phenomenal, you know.
Absolutely.
Having never seen South Pacific.
I know it's funny. That's I just say I'm a musical theater fan, but there's so many that I haven't seen. That's just like, all right, I just need to bite the bullet and just find some versions online and just watch. You know, like I love Rent. Beauty and the Beast as a musical production was great. Secret Garden, I think, was one that I did. Chess, funny enough, was an other good one that I really dig.
AIDS is really good.
AIDS. Everyone has AIDS. Shit. Good old Team America.
Yeah.
Good actor. Durka. Muhammad Jihad.
Now suck my cock.
Now suck my cock.
Oh, I get it. You're just going to get me in your fancy car and then put your finger in.
Yes.
They don't have time for this. Now get in the car. Wow, this is a nice ride. Yes. Now suck my cock. Anyway, we'll have to really try hard here to not turn this episode into Team America.
I know. Hopefully the outro music will just be the Team America theme song. I'll be okay with that.
Oh, you know, so I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, well, we can probably just do a good Rogering doing it. Fuck it, you know, whatever. But we should use one of your. We've been, you know, just doing intro and outro music. We should use one of your songs if you're cool with it for some intro music.
Dude, you're absolutely more than welcome to. Finite wise, like, yeah, you like anything that you need, let me know, and check out our first album or I guess the first like Red and Blue album. I'll send you I got all the fucking copies here, so I can send you whatever you need.
Awesome, man. You guys have a website and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, totally. FiniteFidelity.com. Yeah, we're on all the social medias. I mean, we're on Twitter, but we've never used it.
I don't get Twitter, man.
Fuck Twitter.
I don't get it.
So back. Yeah. So we got a website. It's FiniteFidelity.com. We're on all the social medias. Fuck Twitter. We pretty much, we have a YouTube, and we're actually going to be starting using that more. We're actually probably going to be doing a music video here in about a month.
I'm glad to hear that because I almost brought this up earlier. When you were talking about doing singles and having, you know, doing promotion and stuff, you guys always do have you just do a lot of different things from what I see on with stuff on Facebook or whatever. Just it's always fun, entertaining stuff. And I know there's some other things we still got to get to as well, but yeah, you're always creative and you guys always have fun with it. Like whenever the first Skunk Fest happened, you guys came up with the idea for a skit, which was just fantastic, man.
Yeah. And that's still on our Instagram. You can still find that. Yeah.
So much fun shooting that, man. So I always like from the visual aspect and just the kind of the fun, quirky comedy aspect that you bring into it too. You know, I really like your idea. So anything visual like that you guys are going to do, I'm always curious about what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a little like with our music videos because we're the band. I think social media wise, we're kind of like we really draw inspiration, all of us, from like Red Fang and all what those dudes do. Like, I got to say, like music video wise, our first one's probably going to be pretty serious. Not to the sense of like, oh my gosh, you know, this is somebody slitting their wrist and then drinking a bottle of fucking Clorox. Like, it ain't gonna be like that gnarly, but it's just probably gonna be a little darker. But what we kind of derive is just like, man, our music is so heavy and so like dark as it is, and the subject matter is really deep, and you know, it's there's a lot of really tough shit to deal with in our tunes where we're just like, you know, on the outside, it's like, man, we got to lighten this up somehow. So, so Red Fang's really good about doing that. Like one of their songs, it's a pretty heavy song. I think it's called not Flies. It's, anyway, it's basically it's a pretty heavy tune. It's about 6 minutes long, but they bought the music video is them essentially buying a car, buying a bunch of shit at the supermarket and like thrift stores and shit, and then decking out the car to just ram into all the shit they bought. That's literally, and they have like a little counter on the top of their screen of like 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, you know, 250 or 2,500, you know, it just counts down the money of all they spend to make a music video. So that's fucking brilliant, you know, and all their songs are like very dark, but they're all funny music videos and they're all funny stuff. So that's kind of why we do what we do.
Yeah, I just think, well, just thinking outside the box, because, and things work, for a reason, and so they're going to work. But I think it's always kind of cool when you see something different. Oh yeah, that was interesting. Like that idea you just said. It's like, oh look, here's another band standing with their arms crossed and looking really cool and mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's nice. It's refreshing when you kind of get some different stuff mixed in.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
And so, what about other projects? You playing in any other bands? And I think you were saying something. I've seen a few videos, man. What's the deal that you and Ryan are doing? Some kind of series, or tell us about that.
Yeah, also I'll get to that here in a sec for sure. Just real quick, yeah. As far as like other projects and stuff goes, like I kind of was doing the gun for hire thing. I still am very much doing that. Like, and anybody needs me for sitting on bass, guitar, drums, whatever. I usually kind of been doing that. So I play with some guys around town, like Nick Swift is a dude that I really enjoy playing with. A guy named Joseph Mock I play lead guitar for. So yeah, and then I'm actually starting my own solo project pretty soon here. It's kind of not vastly different because it's still pretty fuzzy and stuff, but it's more along like the jazzier Americana fusion rock type of side of things. Because I've just been needing to explore that side of me for a while. So that's kind of, I guess, more or less what's coming up project wise for me. I mean, I just got my studio gear all kind of fandangled and plugged in, so I'm ready to kind of actually start recording some new tunes.
What do you got? Curious, what do you got? What's the amp behind you, and then what are the different? So
the amp right here.
Yeah, what is that?
So that's just a 112 cab. I got a Quilter Mini 101 head. That's what I use every time in the web series I'm about to talk about here in a sec. But I pretty much use this whole setup. I got some pedals here, like Walrus Audio and Earthquaker devices and stuff. Over here, I got kind of I got like 3 stereo preamps. 2 of them are tube, 1 of them solid state, but I have that running through a tube compressor. So I have 8 solid state preamps on another interface. So pretty much I have like 15 or so inputs to work with to record like a live band if I need to. But it's just all more options to
cool.
get some better sounds.
You've got a setup right there, then you can just track yourself playing drums right there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like the idea is I'm make a 5-song EP and then record all of it here and with all the stuff I got. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Yeah. Nice.
So the web series, what I got. So this is actually the most fun thing out of quarantine that I was able to do. So for a while, I was on Instagram as the beer pedal nerd, and what that amounted to was just spending a minute video on reviewing a beer and spending a minute video reviewing a guitar pedal and kind of pairing them together. And then the drummer of Finite Fidelity, Ryan, who is the brewer at Live Oak, or one of the brewers at Live Oak, should I say. He was like, man, I love what you're doing. I love the concept. Super niche, super funny, super cool. But man, you're only spending a minute on both of these. Like, you need to spend a bit more time to kind of really get a hold of what all is in the pedal, what all is in the beer. I was like, okay, I'll think about that. And I think at one point, I like a week or two later, I was like, man, why don't we just do like a YouTube thing? Why don't we start? You and I mean, you know more about beer than I do. I know more about pedals than you do. It's gonna be fun. Like, I get the pedal, you get the beer, we pair it together, see what we can make, and really be honest with ourselves if it does pair or not. And he's like, yeah, dude, that sounds great. And we never got started on it. I mean, this is probably like a year ago when we thought about doing this. And when quarantine hit, I was like, hey man, I'm getting my studio stuff up and running again. And no better time than the present. He's like, dude, let's do it. So we started this YouTube channel called the Pilz Nerdz. And what that's a combination of is we both love the band Electric Wizard. We love Pilsners, both of us, and we're both nerds. So we just combined all 3 of those into the Electric Pilz Nerdz. And what we do is, we have about 20-minute episodes once every week. We're kind of on hiatus right now we're about to start season 2 at the end of October. But what we do is we spend half the episode talking about a pedal or beer. We have about a minute song that I write, record in context with the pedal and drums and a full band situation. And it's a funny slow motion of us pouring the beer and doing silly things as we're drinking it and all that. And then the next half of it's talking about the beer or pedal that we're pairing with. And then we review it. We pair at the end, go, okay, well, this pairing gets a 6.5 out of 10, is good, whatever. Or this gets a 10 out of 10. And then we kind of talk about why it pairs, why it doesn't pair. And then the episode's done. And it's a really fun. We just add all the silly YouTube editing video tricks and all the references we can possibly fit in there that's legally allowed. Yeah, awesome. That's the whole series.
How many episodes have you done so far?
We've done 10. So the first season was 10 episodes. We plan to do the same for season 2. We're going to basically every season is going to be 10 episodes. And I think next season is going to have some green screen stuff in there as well.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's that address again? Or the Pilz Nerdz? What is it again?
It's the Electric Pilz Nerdz, and pretty much on all social media, it's just Electric Pilz Nerdz. But Pilz Nerdz, instead of having S's, it has both Z's. PILZ NERDZ. Nerds. Yeah.
Okay, so then you got like a Facebook page and the Instagram and the YouTube, obviously, for that.
Yeah, Instagram we're going to be a little bit more present on coming up here, and yeah, so we're just going to put snapshots and try to be more open for them and really try to the ultimate goal with this is, we'd love to make some money from this, but that's not really the whole thing. The whole thing for us is eventually, instead of going out of our own pocket, because I get to rent, I'm very fortunate. I get to rent pedals from the shop that I work at, and also have an account over at a local place called Rock and Roll Rentals, where you can rent pedals, and they have a pedal of the month club where I can just swap out pedals as much as I want. So with those two avenues, I have pretty much infinite amount of pedals I can grab from, which is great. But the idea is companies, whether they be big or small, breweries, whether they be big or small, if they want to send us, what we'd like to eventually like to do is hey, we got in a beer from Colorado, we got in a pedal from New York, this private maker, we're going to pair these together and see how it goes. And then that's when the real pairing is going to start of you know what, from the way this pedal sounds, the way the beer goes, I'm not feeling it. Or this matches perfectly. That's kind of the end goal, is to get a bunch of this stuff from various and collaborate with people and bring people in to where we bring these two seemingly different worlds in to make them together.
Yeah, that's a great idea, man. I think that's awesome. And I mean, as a guy that plays guitar and a guy that drinks beer, I like it. But no, I mean, I think it's cool because the whole collaboration thing, I think a lot of things this is, I think anyway, in many businesses, especially as an entertainer and as a musician, I think it's important, but now, so especially, right, where it's what are you going to do? Sit around and go, well, I can't do anything, or you kind of figure out things you can do. And so just even in the short time we've been doing this podcast, man, just talking to different people and all the different things that are going on. To me, it's a cool way of just wow, I hadn't talked to Scott in a while. I haven't talked to so-and-so in a while. And you catch up on things and this and that. And who knows, maybe we end up going oh yeah, dude, play drums on this or whatever,
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what's been kind of cool, is just the all kinds of random collaborations happening. And I think that's an important thing, especially when you're trying to do something new and it's not something that you're launching from something that's already famous. It's kind of building from the ground up. Is the more people you get involved, right? And so you kind of create interest from all these different little circles from doing it,
Exactly. And a lot of times, with the beer and pedals, at least most musicians that I know dig beer, whether it be Lone Star or a nice Hefeweizen or something, And so it's relatable. And even the beer nerds, a lot of those are hobbyists that want to, they might have a guitar and a practice amp at home that they like to play Nirvana covers with. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. And so, it's where we're trying to make this very niche concept relatable, and also really just collaborate with a bunch of people around the U.S. or the world, if we can.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm just glad somebody is talking about Pilsners, because it seems like everybody was all into IPAs and
In which, I mean, yeah, we you're right. You're so right.
It was like you go into any place that's that has that brews or gets from a local brewery. It's like, oh, it's just nothing but IPAs. It's like, can I just get a Pilsner or lager or something?
Yeah, exactly. And man, it's such a fad. Like IPA is such a fad because it's like it's the beer that got people into wanting to drink craft beer and make them sound pretentious enough to say like, oh yeah, I like to have an IPA. What kind of IPAs do you have?
That's totally me. Like for the
longest
seasonal
IPA.
I need to start changing my voice though. From now on, when I order an IPA, I'm gonna have to say it like that. I want an IPA.
Yes, can I get your sour if it's only an IPA?
Sound like the bad guy or the did you okay? So there was Silence of the Lambs, obviously everybody's. But remember Hannibal, the movie Hannibal?
Oh, vaguely. Yeah.
In Hannibal, I think the guy that played, so there was Hannibal Lecter was kind of in it, and then there was another guy though played by, what's his name, man? The guy that was Drexler in True Romance. He's a character actor, Gary Oldman, right?
Okay, Gary Oldman, yeah.
Gary Oldman was in that, and he was the guy in the wheelchair, was all fucked up and face off and shit. Oh, Papa's, but that voice makes me think of him. Like, I want an IPA.
Oh, yeah, quite. I think that's more of I guess I'm more doing a fancy version of Mance Rayder from Game of Thrones.
I was just having this conversation, and I don't know Game of Thrones. I'm one of the.
That's okay. I mean, I got sucked into it definitely when I was in college, and then finished it all the way through, and was vastly, disappointed like everybody else was.
The first seasons are pretty dope, though.
Oh, absolutely, they're amazing. Yeah. But yeah, man. So yeah, it's nice. Like we don't limit ourselves to the type of beer we drink. I mean, there's an Icelandic porter. There is an actual German, like from Germany. There's a Kolsch that we have. There's some sours. I mean, we go all over the place because you can't limit it to one beer.
No,
you got to have the variety of pedals and the variety of beer that's out there. It's almost synonymous. So it's like,
I agree.
Not pair them.
Yeah. No, you're right. That just when you start putting it in those terms too, like thinking about all the different kinds of beers and the different kinds of, that is interesting. Like I really like that concept, especially when you,
unless you live in Austin and all they serve is IPAs everywhere.
Look, it's true. Like forever, I was just like, I'll drink cheap. Yeah, we all go through a high school phase where we just drink whatever cheap bullshit, right? And think,
of course, yeah.
OE40 and Bud Light's bee's knees, and then you're like,
I got my yellow bellies all here to prove it.
Yeah. I still will drink Lone Star. There's certain beers I still like, don't mind, just a good old cheap lager. But like I used to do the lagers. I went through the hop or the hop phase. But man, I was always like against the IPA and the hoppy beers, and then I started to open up to it. And for me, Fireman's 4 was the bridge gapper because it was like an ale, but it's kind of a little hoppy. I always like that, and then I made that jump, and so just coincidentally, because I'm not really like the trend chasing hipster type, but like this hat would tell you otherwise. But like
I was going to say something about that.
I gotta feed my birds here. So anyway, like,
are you going to drink an IPA after the episode?
I need an IPA, and I'm some Dave Matthews man.
Screenplay.
I'm writing this. Yeah, I'm writing a screenplay. I need a hoppy and fruity IPA, please. So, someone like me who clearly knows nothing about beer and just tries to buy IPAs to look cool. So. Can you give us a quick rundown of like what are the signature differences between IPA, Pilsner, all that kind of stuff?
I can give a quick rundown. I'm sure whenever Ryan sees this, he's going to be like, "You fucking dumbass! You've learned better than this." But I can give a pretty good lowdown. So you have two different types of beers. That's pretty much what you got. You have lagers and you have ales, and the main reason why is the yeast they use in lagers ferments at a colder temperature than it does ales. So ales will ferment at 50 or so degree. No, I'm sorry, more at like room temperature. Like more room temperature, they can ferment at that temperature. Lagers ferment at colder temperatures, like 40 to 50. So, and the German word lager means to store. So, like places like Live Oak, they focus on lagers and they have the space to actually lager them and ferment them at colder temperatures. So when you get lagers, you're getting like, you're getting Pilsners, Kolsch, like amber lagers. Oh man, there's a ton of different German and Czech beers that are smoke. I think I might be wrong, but I think I got like a Grodziskie, which is a Czech smoked wheat beer. I think that might still be an ale, but like you get like a lot of these clear crystal, very like clean tasting beers that are lagers. There's not really much I've tasted in my beer lifetime of like cloudy lagers. And if you really ever get like a Kolsch that's cloudy, that's not typically a good thing. Like for me, at least, a Kolsch is supposed to be like crystal, see through the glass, very yellowy, like wheat color, you know? But like ales, you kind of get a little more room to fuck with a lot of stuff. Ales will take a lot fruitier beers. They'll take a lot more like what's called adjuncts, where adjuncts are things you add to beers like fruits, chocolates, and a lot of those different nectars and too you can add to it. So like a lot of sours you get in town are going to be ales. A lot of IPAs, obviously India Pale Ale, you know, that a lot of that stuff, porters, stouts, ales. And the only porter that's the lager is called a Baltic porter. So I'm going to get diving into a lot of this stuff, but that's kind of the biggest education I got. So you have ales and lagers. Lagers are a little more strict of what you can make. Ales are a little bit more wish-washy. You can do a lot more weird shit with them.
That is the correct answer.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew it was.
Man, yeah, I had quit. I was dead sober there for nearly 2 years, and I'm not like a raging alcoholic or anything, but I think sometimes everyone needs to just put the brakes on. Well, not
totally.
Some people certainly do. And
I look like a bitch in this aspect, but I did a sober September, and honestly, it was a great thing.
It
was awesome. It was really easy, and it was really like refreshing.
Yeah,
you know.
But I do think just as when you can get, if you're not someone who is, you know, tempted and struggling with the not knowing when being able to stop and go into bars, and it's this habitual, you know, that whole thing. And just drinking beer as a sort of connoisseur and for the taste of beer, just like, you know, wine people, you know, like it's such an interesting thing because it's really, you can really enjoy the beer and just sort of savor the flavors and analyze, like you said, you know, kind of the same thing you're doing with pedals. Like there's a lot behind it. You know, it's not just one size fits all kind of formula.
Exactly. That is the right answer.
Victor, what's your right answer now? What's the best beer?
What's the best beer?
Yes.
Well, I was going to ask what kind of beer goes with your hat.
You tell me. Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer, wasn't it? What I was about to ask was two things. So, Scott, first of all, do you have a favorite beer? What is it? Secondly, what exact IPA goes with my hat?
Okay. I'm going to say for my favorite beer on the planet, I mean, it varied for so long. I promise not to get too long-winded about this, but for so long, I loved Belgian ales. Like, they were so fruity, malty, flavorful, rich. And man, I gotta say, I love a proper German or Czech Pilsner. Dude, Pilsners are the shit. They are so tasty. They're so easy to drink. And like, I'm not talking like Miller, Coors. A lot of those like are Budweiser. And a lot of those are like Pilsners. Like, I'm talking like legit fucking German style Pilsners that are, they're just a little hoppier, but they're also a little crackery, little floral, just a tiny bit, you know, and it's just, they're crisp. Quip. They're quippy.
Any local breweries punching out some of those?
Yes, I'm definitely biased, but I really do believe that they make the best Pilsners in town. It's Live Oak. And that was before my drummer worked there. I truly believe they make the best Hefeweizen in America, and they make the best Pilsners in Austin, for sure.
You're not going to believe this, but guess what IPA I've been... Oh, guess which Live Oak beer I've been drinking lately. I'll give you a hint.
Amber.
It's the IPA.
The IPA. It's a great one. They do. It's funny because they did that. They kind of forced they were like had their hand forced into it because anybody who came into their fucking brew was like, "Where's your IPA? Where's your IPA? Where's the fucking IPA?" Those are the guys, you know.
I got a Dave Matthews concert to get to. I need my IPA. Dave Matthews fans drink IPAs. I feel like they're more of a happy beer crowd.
What was that?
What kind of beers? This is gonna be fun. What kind of beers do Dave Matthews fans drink, Scott?
Wine.
What kind of beer? What kind of beers do Dave Mustaine fans drink, Victor?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what goes with cocaine.
What beer goes with cocaine, Scott?
Mickey's.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That is the correct answer.
To answer your question, a hazy IPA goes with your beret.
Stop it.
I would have thought it would have been like a French beer.
What is a good French beer, actually?
Man, I just
what? Like wine, right? Like, what's a good French beer?
I think I've had one French beer and it didn't make an impression on me enough to remember it, unfortunately. I can't really, I'm sure Ryan has a fucking like catalog of French beers he might know about, but I don't really know any French. But the only thing that comes to me, and it's not even French, it's Canadian, it's La Fin du Monde. And that's made by Unibrew up in Quebec, I think. I think they're Quebec, but they're Canada, you know. But they're like French Canada.
As a non-beer connoisseur, I basically think of one beer per country. Like Canada is what? I think Moosehead.
Goosehead.
Moosehead. Remember Moosehead?
Oh, Moosehead. I think it's Goosehead. Yeah. I don't actually.
Oh, I'd recommend Moosehead as a green bottle lager.
Okay. All right.
There's another one that's pretty famous up there. I can't remember. Gosh.
Oh, was it oh fuck. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like I can see the fucking maple leaf on the blue can.
Is it an IPA?
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. Man, I cannot remember that for the life of me. I was gonna say Canada Dry, but that's not right.
Going back to the French beer, I've had the Kronenberg 1664 that was pretty tasty.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've had it though.
Sophisticated.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Skunk, let me ask you. I guess what are y'all's favorite beers? Like favorite beer on the planet?
I mean, any IPA, basically.
Really?
No. I will say, like, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I mean, I for the longest time, I used to be the guy that was like, I hate IPAs, and then that's really what I buy primarily now. But sometimes, depending, I do like a really dark beer. I'm not like a super beer connoisseur though in types of, so I've gone through all kinds of things. Like I went through a phase where it was just like German lagers and lagers, and then now I've been in a very long running kind of IPA phase. But it's hard for me to say if I have a favorite. I
definitely have
one.
Some, I mean, not a favorite, but I can think of some things that I enjoy. Like, I mean, I definitely like the Warsteiner.
Okay.
But then I went to go visit my cousin up in Seattle a few years back, and he introduced me to Mac and Jack's African Amber, which was pretty badass. And then I know I've been ragging on IPAs just because that's all you see, but they have what is it? George's Pale Ale, I think.
Okay, yeah.
That's really good.
George's,
yeah.
Yeah, my big problem is I can't remember names of anything that aren't just like super name brand. Like for instance, I just had a really fantastic IPA in San Francisco that was, Bay something IPA. I don't know, but I'll have to like see just see it again. I don't remember the name of it. So
nice.
That's hard to actually say what I like with no memory.
I get like that too. I'm like, give me that one.
That picture of a moose.
Well, what Pilsners do you got?
I mean, that's what's nice though, when you can just say IP and then you don't even have to finish. They're just like, That's if you walk in somewhere with this hat, you don't even have to speak. They just
serve it up. Just serve it up.
There's your. This is
IPA.
the most popular IPA right now, and we knew that's what you wanted.
Here you go, you pretentious dick.
Here's some day old bread for those birds, sir.
That just gave me a great idea. I want to get a shirt that just says "I'm a pretentious dick" to wear with this hat.
Oh,
and then I'll just drink IPA on the show and belittle every guest. You're the last that will not be treated that way.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I said a good phrase today that I don't ever want to forget, because I was talking music theory with one of my coworkers today. And it was about being pretentious. Like, basically, I was like, I'm loving this. Like, of course, me being a fucking nerd, I was like, man, I'm loving this like Mixolydian flat six scale that I'm.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
That's
and he was just like, oh, you pretentious dick. And I was like, hey, man, I went to music college. I paid a lot of money to be pretentious.
Let me tell you. Look, first of all, I admire you, and it's also sometimes referred to as the Hindu scale. Anyway, do you have an IPA? First of all, we literally
had a beer in front of you when you said that. First of all,
because now I'm gonna have to start drinking just to keep up with my hat. But really, I feel like this is more of a wine hat. But we just had an episode where our most recent episode that's out right now, we just talked about music theory for like a fucking hour, hardcore nerd naming all the fucking modes. I mean, it was pathetic. And awesome. I mean,
awesome.
Like, and then at the end, the guy is like, should I plug we're like, nobody's listening to this. You know, Del Castillo, you know those guys?
Yeah.
Plugging Mike Christopher, who plays, I don't know if you know Christopher. He plays with.
I've heard the name Christopher. Like, I've heard Del Castillo. Like, I don't know them personally, but I've heard of them.
They did a live stream last night, so we were kind of plugging that, and we were talking about that.
Nice.
But yeah, there was a whole hour segment in the middle of the thing was just pathetic nerd, music theory. But I look at it the opposite. I actually feel like if you're a musician and you're a good musician and you start talking about music theory, and we can talk about music theory, to me, like, we're not being pretentious. It's the ones who are just like, I don't know, bro, just really fuck you bastard. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You know something, you pretentious prick. I feel like it's the opposite. So, I mean, I don't want to get like too absurdly nerdy about it, and we're not going to spend another hour episode boring people with music theory, but I actually appreciate when you can sort of have a basic conversation about rather than like, I don't know, bro, just play from the heart.
Well, it's funny. There's a guy in a band called Marvin. Have you ever heard of those guys? It's okay. It's okay if not. I'm
a huge fan. Don't ask me any of their songs though.
There you go. Perfect. I started following them around about a year ago or so, but they're like they call themselves Israeli jazz, and it's kind of like fusion jazz stuff, but they have like a soprano sax player, and a lot of times the lead guitar player, man, he like gives free fucking lessons online. He's also a gypsy jazz shredder, and I think they were like on the road on tour or something, and they got into a discussion about like, oh, I just play from the heart. I play what sounds good. I don't know what I'm playing. I play what sounds good. And even he was like, that's bullshit. That's total bullshit. You learned something, and then you went with that thing you learned, and then you just expanded on it. And then you're always learning. You know what you're doing. If you're just playing from the heart, that would sound completely under shit. There is some applied learning that you have gotten that you are putting to this.
Yeah, nobody just pops out of the fucking womb and goes, "Hello there, may I have an IPA?" You know what I mean?
May I have an IPA? Let me play you a Mixolydian flat six.
I never went to school. I never learned the alphabet. I just sort of talked. Like, that's what it actually sounds like to me. When someone is going like, I don't know, I just sort of play. That's literally what you're saying to me. It's like, I never learned the alphabet. I just talked one day. No, you didn't. Fuck you. You're a liar. Like, I'm not saying you have to learn all this shit, but intuitively, even, yes, you've learned some patterns. How the fuck can you be a musician for 20 years and not hear the words pentatonic scale? 1 chord, 4 chord, 5. Give me a break, man. So exactly. I think that rock stars do that shit to try to get laid and sound cool. I get it. Whatever. Yeah. People think it makes it sound like now I do know some people that don't know jack fucking squat about theory, and they're good in their own creative ways, and I respect them as you could still play an instrument and not know all the lingo and all that stuff, right? But it is frustrating because when you're working with someone like that, because then there's basic communication that then you can't use, that you're like, God damn it, this could be so much easier if we just had the basic fundamentals under control, you know?
It's
so
like,
I think it's important.
It's like you're a musician. Like, music is a language, and the fact that you don't want to step over a third grade level, fuck yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to say
that's really strong, but it's really strong.
It's true. I mean, I work with, there's guys that I very much respect and have played with that they really don't know the theory stuff. And like, I've been in that situation where someone's like, what note is this? And I'm like, huh? Like, you've been playing music for 30. I don't understand what's happening right now. Like, it's kind of the flat earth thing at that moment. Sometimes,
are you fucking with me?
Like, this happened to me once, and it was like, I was like jamming on a piano, and he's just like, what is this note between C and D? And I'm like, fuck you, man. You know, like,
yeah,
I don't what? Like, sometimes I feel like it's a slight to me, like, how, you know, oh, what is this note, Mr. Music Theory man? You know, and I'm really not like, I'm not John McLaughlin over here. I'm just like,
exactly.
Dude, Mixolydian scale. This isn't fucking rocket science. Like, I'm not that smart of a guy. I failed algebra like 14 times. Like, but I can understand basic music theory. Like, it's
exactly.
People like to make things harder than they are sometimes, you know? So, but at the end, like, to your point, like, it's, yes, you learn these things and then you apply them. And then the end game is you don't have to think about it, right? Just like communicating and saying all the dumb things.
Exactly. And that's when you can play from the heart. That's when you can like.
So it's kind of a misnomer that I play from here. Like, I love this, and I think it's irresponsible to say to a young musician. That's what I don't like about it, because then you give someone the idea that, oh, well, so and so doesn't know all this, so I don't want to know this. And I don't know if that's the case with most people, but I think it's just kind of, to me, it's kind of irresponsible as a musician.
Well, it's funny because, like, you know, people talk about like Jimi Hendrix, of like, oh man, he just played what he was feeling in the moment. You know, he played with from the heart. And it's like, dude, he was playing as a backing guitar player. He's like, dude, he knew some shit. He knew some shit.
Just go play for fucking Little Richard and be like, oh, what is this? Somebody show me where to put my fingers. No, fuck them. No, dude. They were like, I'm guaranteeing fucking to you, you're playing a situation like that, and someone's like, yeah, dude, do a 1/4 vamp G, and you don't like that, you're fucking fired, dude. You know, like that, you have to know your shit.
And you know, it's funny. Like, I was listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan the other day. I mean, of course, being from Austin, Texas, you got to listen to Stevie every once in a while.
It's like, of course, hey, man,
being a brilliant blues player as he was, you know, he knew jazz, and proof of that, it's on. Oh man,
he does a Wes Montgomery tune, right? Doesn't he do a Wes Montgomery tune?
Well, he does at some point, but there's a song he wrote. I think it's on
Paradise, maybe.
I think it's Couldn't Stand the Weather. I think it's that album, but it's called Stang Swang.
Oh, okay.
Stang Swang, and it's a fucking legit, like, almost bebop tune.
Sure.
And he's playing like a 335, and it still sounds like his Strat because it's fucking Stevie. Sure. But like, he's doing like a legit fucking jazz. He like wrote a jazz tune, and it's jazz. It's not like a blues player playing jazz. He's playing fucking jazz. That's cool. That's really cool. So yeah, it's like, you know, people think all these great guitar players, they were playing just what they felt. It's like, yeah, they were, because they knew how to do it. They knew what they were applying. They put in the practice to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure Mozart didn't have to think about shit when he was 20 years old, but he was learning the language 12 hours a day when he was 4. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The reason that happened, you know?
Exactly.
Anyway, we've showed what musical snobs we are basically now.
Yeah, IPA. IPA, please.
IPA all around.
Yes, we are all IPA drinkers here.
I'll drink my grapefruit waterloo.
Sounds like a bit of a Mixolydian flavor. Also, it must suck to be British when back to Game of Thrones. Why is it that everything that happened in the Middle Ages was people with British accents? I never understood. If it's Lord of the Rings, everyone's got a British accent. British it seems to be the most annoying thing to be from England, because anytime we want to imitate something in the Middle Ages, or we want to sound like we're smart, we imitate that. Why that language, right?
They're trying to reclaim the colonies.
Like, nobody ever. Yeah.
Like, anytime the Americans portray British, or every time Americans portray evil people, they're British. Think about Captain America and Loki.
Yeah, I guess it's because Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. the rebels, sir. The rebels, they're here.
Do they want tea?
Everyone should. The villain should really be German. Really.
Yeah.
Everyone should just be yelling like Darth Vader.
The rebels, they are here.
Eddie Izzard's got a great bit about Star Wars, and the bad guys are all British, right?
Yes, it was in Dress to
Eddie
Kill.
Izzard.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. Dress to Kill.
Yeah, I remember that. That's one of my favorite stand-ups on the planet. It's like an hour and a half long too.
Yeah,
he's just going. Yeah, go for it.
No, I was gonna say that's the same. That's the same special where he has that bit about the monkey speaking in French. Because it sounds okay. Yeah.
La soupe sur la branche.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does he say? Or that's what it is. Le singe sur la branche. And everywhere I had to go in France, I had to bring a monkey, a cat, and a mouse, and a table and chairs, and then find a tree.
Then the monkey.
Yeah, that was a great stand-up.
Man, I gotta go check that out. I hadn't heard that guy's name in a while.
Oh, yeah, it's a great stand-up special. Yeah, definitely.
Man, we touch on comedy a lot. What are some of your favorite comedians? Seems like almost pretty much every musician is a huge stand-up comic fan.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big stand-up comic fan. I think for like Richard Pryor comes to mind a lot. He was fucking amazing. That dude, Rodney Dangerfield, the king of one-liners. Modern wise, Eddie Izzard again, like top. Excuse me. And then even more modern dude, Tom Segura. That guy has me in fucking stitches every time I watch his stuff. Guy's fucking hilarious. He is just insanely talented. And I think what it is, it's like his delivery is so good because it's just a nonchalant, I don't give a fuck.
I was going to say it's kind of deadpan, right? But it
is. It's so deadpan. It's so dry, but also it's so perfect how he does it. Yeah. How about y'all's?
He's a big IPA drinker, man. I know. There's so much comedy that I love, dude. I mean, those guys. I should go check into some more Eddie Izzard stuff. I mean, obviously Pryor and obviously Bill Hicks. It's a no-brainer, Doug Stanhope I like a lot. I like those kind of cynical comedians,
George Carlin, dude.
Carlin. Oh, yeah. Honestly, I wasn't ever super into Carlin, and he's super hit or miss for me. But when he's on, he's the best. Like when he goes down a road and really makes a social commentary point, like he's the king. You know what I mean?
Oh man, he did a bit. It was probably like in the 80s. I think he did a bit on football versus baseball. And it has always stuck with me. He's like, in football, you have downs. What down is it? In baseball, you have ups. Are you up? I'm up. Who's up? I don't know who's up. Or you're up,
Yeah.
It's like in baseball, you have the 7th inning stretch. In football, you have the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, I've heard that bit. It's good, man. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's so fucking funny.
Anyone to add to that list, Vic?
I like Bill Burr a lot. If we're talking modern comics.
These women are bending over at the knees, bending over at the waist, putting DVDs into DVD players. It's the hardest job in the world. You're living the dream.
You know what? Somebody who got me into this comedian recently, Eliza Schlesinger.
Oh yeah.
I don't watch her. She is fucking hysterical, man. Like, God, it's like I don't want to compare to anybody else, but it's like I feel like we've been needing like that modern like Sarah Silverman kind of take, like fucking Sarah Silverman was amazing too, like in the heyday of her stand up. Mm-hmm. All those comedians like Zach Galifianakis and
Galifianakis is great too. Yeah.
So man, those two just killer as well. So the list goes on for sure.
For sure.
I think
Brian Posehn as well.
Right. Yeah. I can't remember. I don't know if this is his last name. John Mulaney? Is that
John Mulaney or John Mulaney? John Mulaney.
Yeah. He's got some really funny bits.
He does, man. His stuff is great.
The whole getting a letter from college, right? It's like, hey, give us money, and he's like, I paid you guys $120,000 over 4 years.
Yeah.
So he just goes into this rant.
I will not be giving you my money, sir.
Yeah. And then Michelle Wolf, like, I know she had a special on Netflix, and I don't know, it's something about like these comedians or writers that have their own show and it's all scripted and it's not funny. But then I've seen her stand up and she's got some bits that are actually pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, I need to look into her stuff a little bit more.
What was the girl you said? Because I feel like I've seen that, and I feel like it was someone. It was one random thing that I came across and watched, and was just like, "Oh wow, this is really funny." But I forgot about it.
Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah.
She has her own stand up. I think it was like something has to do with millennials, but her stand up is fucking hilarious, man. Actually, my girlfriend showed me like about a year ago. It was on Netflix, probably still is. And I was in tears laughing. It was so good. Just her delivery was great. And
Tom Segura's wife is pretty funny too.
I haven't seen any of her stuff. I don't know where to find it. I don't know if she's done anything on Netflix or not. But I
think she does, because I know on YouTube they'll show like small bits. Like, I can't remember what the channel for you or the Netflix. Or this is Netflix or something, but they'll show like short comedy bits from all the specials, and she was on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I know they have a podcast together that's pretty funny. Well, you know what tripped me out is that Tom Segura does another podcast entirely in Spanish, and I just didn't put it together. I'm like, okay, Spanish last name, but
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he can totally speak fluent Spanish.
Yeah.
Also, if y'all haven't seen his Hot Ones, that's also hilarious.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that one out. That's a great series. I mean, what an idea.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like,
have you seen that, Scott?
What I love about it, because he's such a good interviewer. Even like Paul Rudd like pointed out that I can't remember his name, unfortunately, the guy who hosts it. He's like, dude, you're like a great
Sean
interviewer.
Something. Yeah,
Sean something. He's like, you're a great interviewer. Like, you ask like all the like cool and like proper questions that nobody would ever think of, and it's great because you get to see these people kind of just break down into a version of themselves that's a little more real. Like they're forced to be their real selves.
Yeah,
because of how hot it is.
So have you seen that one, Skunk? That channel?
What is it again?
It's basic. So the channel's called First We Feast, I think.
Oh well, yeah, I guess the channel called
the channel's First We Feast, but the actual series is called Hot Ones, and it's got an interviewer, Sean.
Oh, it's the Peppers thing.
Hot Wings. Yeah, hot wings with hot sauce, right? And it's like, it's 10 wings. And
I think I saw one with Bill Burr, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, he's on there.
Okay. Yes, that is good. Yeah. Totally
Tenacious D's on there too.
Totally different. Yeah.
Oh, Tenacious D. Okay, yeah. Man, who did I see on there?
What an interesting idea that one is. That's a cool one. It feels like something like that Scott would come up with, man. Okay, we're gonna interview people. But we can't just fucking interview people. We're going to eat hot wings like pedals and beer. Like, thinking of these things like that, it's awesome, because it is. It's like
you could do hat and IPA pairings.
That would be really good.
Let me tell you, I actually really like this, because I have a lot of hats and there's a lot of different IPAs. So that's
So do I. I don't know if you can see up here, but those are all the hats that I have so far that are outside of the closet.
Dude.
Yeah, those are just the ones outside of the closet. So I got a decent amount.
The other hats haven't come out yet. Hey.
You can pair hats, IPAs, and what kind of birds would you feed with this? On
I'm gonna have to go do some research. I think I could name like 3 fucking birds at this point. Like, and literally, like, and that even IPAs, I don't even know. Like,
there's brown birds, there's white birds.
We're talking IPA brown birds. We're talking.
Yeah, it's kind of a fruit. I really like this. Could be like a really lame YouTube channel where I like walk around with some bird seed and an IP, and I just sit on a park bench and I feed a bird and I talk about it. Paul Simon plays quietly in the background.
And Garfunkel and Art Garfunkel plays silently behind him.
Right. This song is really, really good. What I think we should do is take Garfunkel out, and it'll be. No, Garfunkel deserves credit. That guy could get up in the stratosphere with his vocals. Like, definitely,
absolutely,
definitely a good condition. But I'm a huge Paul Simon fan, and Simon Garfunkel's great too. But I love like some of Paul Simon's stuff that when he went solo it really inspired me to feed birds and drink IPA. That's all I'm trying. Hat
and scene.
And well, yeah. All right. I feel like, man, we got to do some show. I want to come on your pedal beer show whenever people can get together.
Yeah.
Don't you like the way? Right now? Speaking of great hosts, great interviewers. So yeah, Scott, thanks for coming on. I'll come on your little pedal beer show thing sometime. I'll be like,
I'll drop in. I'll pay a visit.
Scott,
I'll swing by. I'll pencil you in.
Scott Blanco's on the show. He's got his little beer pedal thingy that he does in his little band.
It's so cute. I'm getting so verklempt over it. Go talk amongst yourselves.
Just makes me want to drink an IPA and feed the boys. I just want to feed the boys.
Feed the boys, drink an IPA, maybe talk to my cousin John.
What are we even doing right now? I
have no idea.
I was going more Hannibal to old Jewish women or something. I'm not sure.
I was going like more coffee talk. Mike Myers.
The
Klimt.
Which Mike Myers, when you really start listening to it, like all of his characters are basically come back down to coffee talk lady.
Yeah.
Like he'll have like Austin Powers characters or Cat in the Hat. You're just like, I've heard that before. That sound like
there's an old Jewish lady like from New Jersey in there somewhere.
Like every one of his characters is either Austin Powers or an old Jewish lady. Cool. Okay. This was fun. I have peed my pants.
Yeah, this was a good time, y'all. Thanks for having me on the show.
This again. Yeah, you got to do this again with a whole bunch of IPAs, man. I'll have some little. You'll have your little pedals.
After this little pedal, just plug stuff in. It'll be a good time.
Well, Finite Fidelity, Scott Blanco, or Scott Blanco, depending on what time you met him, from San Antonio, Texas. Has ventured to Austin, Texas, and started the amazing band Finite Fidelity, which also sells glassware. And then you've got your little show. Tell us, what's the name of the little Pilz and the Pedal show?
It's the Electric Pilz Nerdz with Z's, not S's. Don't want to confuse people. But we pair beers with guitar pedals.
Lovely.
And there's some jokes in between.
And some jokes in between. I just love what you're doing.
Thanks.
That's it. And that's all Scott does. And he makes salsa. So salsa, that's another thing that's going to be,
without ice, right?
Without ice.
We learned anything today. Don't put fucking ice in salsa.
Well, when Skunk comes over, I'll make sure to put ice in the salsa.
And, but, hey, I'm going to come do your little pedal show, but you better have ice in my fucking salsa, and I want a 6-pack of IPAs.
You got it. You got it, Booby. You got it.
Now we're in Die Hard somehow.
Yeah. Hans, Booby.
Look, we're businessmen. You use a gun, I use a fountain pen. What's the difference? I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying? I think what we should just have like a thing every like 3 to 6 months where we just do a podcast, and we should have a guest where we do nothing but quote a movie. I bet you, like, if I, as a guy, I would watch that too. I'm like, I wonder if these guys are as good as they say they are. Scott Blanco.
Oh yeah, I would totally be all
Team America.
I would wear that hat that you're wearing, Skunk. I'd wear that while watching that show. Just make sure that I'm really just make sure I know what these guys are talking about.
Cool. Well, I think we're gonna have you back on the show and quote a movie. So get your chops, buddy.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, this is usually where I say anything else, and then the conversation just keeps going on aimlessly. But I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. We've gotten
Well, I think we can wrap up on one thing we did mention earlier in the show that we were going to wrap up on, and that is to say, "Fuck jar sauce."
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The immaculate, the amazing Scott Blanco. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, sir. Until next time, this is Eclectic Soundtrax. Be good to each other. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Actually, can I go grab a soda real quick?
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Cool.
Sorry. I just realized I got a little thirsty.
God, guy fucking likes musicals. Fucking pathetic. Nerd.
All right.
Hey, man.
Okay.